Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Greg, host of the Open Throttle. I've made a couple of videos over the past 3 weeks, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's made a comment or has liked the video. A lot of you have asked me to take a walk around the bike and give you an overview of not only all the components that I put on the bike, but what I like about it, what I don't like about it. So I'm going to take you through the bike again. I'm going to take you part by part, let you know what I did. And if I was to rebuild this bike, I'll let you know would I do it the same, would I change anything. It's a beautiful day here in New York, so let's get started right here today on the Open Throttle. So this is my 2019 CVO Road Glide Mako Shark Fade. We're going to start over here. Actually, let's start in the front of the bike. I'm just going to turn the ignition on so this way we can get some of the lights going here. First thing you'll notice is I'm running a Klockwerks 9-inch sport windshield. And as you can see, it has a nice little curvature in the front, which takes the wind and really brings it over the top of my head. I'm 5'9". This windshield works perfectly. What I love about it is when I'm riding, I could see right over the windshield. I don't have to look through and worry about the distortion factor, which I know is not a great thing. A lot of people that I ride with do not like looking through their windshields because of the distortion. So for me, this height is absolutely perfect, and I like the smoke of it. In the front of the bike, I'm running a Lectric company shark tooth headlight. Number of reasons why I went for this light. The most important reason, however, is on the 2019 CVO Road Glides, we have these vents with flaps that we can control. We can open and we can close it. As of right now, I have it closed. A lot of the other aftermarket lights, such as the Custom Dynamics, which is a fantastic headlight, a lot of times people put these inserts here, which look really good, but on this particular light, the turn signal is built in. So I didn't want to block the side vents, especially when I'm riding on warm weather days. I'd like to be able to have the wind come through and cool and be able to cool me down. So that's why I went with this light. I'm also running the Custom Dynamic turn signals. Those are easy. Those are just, you pop them right in and you're in business. It takes literally 2 minutes to install those. Coming down to the front tire, you'll notice that we're running a different set of rotors. I have no idea why Harley Davison does just not provide us with better rotors. After 3,000 miles, 4,000 miles, you get on the front brake and, they start to shudder. So I decided early on, well, it was right about 3,000 miles, that I put the Galfers on. Why Galfer? Well, most importantly, 2 reasons. A, they have a phenomenal reputation. They make a great quality product. But B, these cool little inserts. You can get all different colors. So as we go through my bike, you'll see I used red as an accent color. It came out of the factory with red, and I just decided to add to it. But I really like that I could put these red inserts in. Now, something about Harley Davison brakes. The brakes that came on this 2019, these ABS brakes are fantastic. The mechanics, the components of the brake are great. So I didn't see that there was a need to change that, as well as the builder who I work with also said, look, these are great. Let's just change the pads and I think you'll be just fine. And that's what we did. So I put Galfer pads in, Galfer front rotors. Coming over to the side of the bike, you'll notice that my brake pedal and arm is from a company called Rebuffini. Rebuffini is, I think right now they're my favorite product brand. Very high quality, great manufacturing, but their detail, the attention to detail is really fantastic. Look, even these 2 little spikes to hold your boot in there is pretty cool, but you could put an Allen key and actually move the pad. You can move it up and down, and you can move it front and back. So it's a 4-position setting, and you can change the color-coded anodized pieces. Again, depending on what kind of bike you have and the type of theme, you can change that up. It's pretty cool. Next, we have the air cleaner. I went with Trask. When I bought the bike, it came with the Snorkel air cleaner. And at first I really liked it because I liked the design and I liked the way it looked, but from a functionality point of view, it's awful. And the reason why it's awful is the front of the air cleaner has a piece of steel over it. I mean, it's covered, and you only have exposed air filter up top and on the bottom. On this model, you've got 360 degrees of available space to suck air into this motor. I'm running a 128 and I want to get as much oxygen as possible to it. So having 360 degrees of available air filter, to me, just makes the most amount of logical sense. You can see here that we're running a 2-to-1 pipe. This is the Fuel Moto RTX, and on these bikes, on these 2019 CVO Road Glides, they came with really high quality, shiny covers for the muffler system. And I wasn't thrilled about getting rid of it, but nothing performs like a 2-to-1 pipe. And this Fuel Moto setup is just outrageous. I am absolutely thrilled that we went with the Fuel Moto. You can see here that we're running Kraus floorboards. And while we left the stock floorboards up front, I mean, I just think they look fantastic. So I don't want to change those. But on the back, I wanted to give a little bit more comfort. So I chose the Kraus because when you fold them up and you come back, you can kind of see right through them for the most part. And I just think that looks really cool, especially from a distance, and it's comfortable. I mean, you have a nice miniature floorboard here. I'll give you a top view looking down. Here on the back of the bags, we are running the custom dynamic lights, and coming to the back, you'll notice that we're running Ciro bag blades and custom dynamic filler panels. We went with the Paul Yaffe 3. I mean, it's a must. You got to go with the Paul Yaffe 3 license plate holder. Why Harley Davidson doesn't provide better license plate holders, I don't know. But those shoe boxes that it come with, just they have to go. You'll notice that even though I'm running a 2-to-1 pipe, I'm running a ghost pipe, and I'll tell you why. To me, and again, this is just my personal opinion, when you're running stretch saddlebags and you have this round opening, to me it just looks odd when it's open. So that's why I went with the ghost pipe. If I had standard size bags that were flat at the bottom, I would definitely just leave the 2-to-1 coming at the right hand side and call it a day. But I just didn't want to have this gap. I don't know, that's my personal preference. Up top, we're running the Saddlemen SDC Pro Gripper seat. We're running Ohlins 159 rear suspension. And coming down, you'll notice the shifter linkage. The heel toe shifter is also by Rebuffini. And again, you can change out the inserts, and you can also move the pegs front and back. Front and back. It's really great. You can dial it in, get a really custom fitting. And if you take a look at the shift linkage, you'll notice that it also has red inserts. And again, depending on the theme of your bike, you can change that. S&S, we're doing the 128 kit. In terms of the internals of this engine, we're also running a T-Man 226 cam, and we're running a Screaming Eagle throttle body, as well as Fueling 6.1 fuel injectors. So now let's come up to the driver's view, and you'll notice a couple things that we did differently. Again, more Rebuffini. These are the wheelie style grips. Beautiful inlaid rubber, very comfortable in the hand. For levers, we're running Elite Mototex. Now, it's important to note that I'm just running the levers. I did not change any of the components of the bike. I simply just changed the levers, and I kind of think it looks pretty trick. In terms of the handlebars, you'll notice that we're running Kraus. This is the 8-inch straight riser. We're running a Raptor plate, and we're running a gauge relocation kit. So let me just take a step back, and you can see exactly how that looks. I'm going to come around to this side of the bike. Now you can get a good view, see the angle. You'll notice that it almost is symmetrical with the forks. I use the Raptor plate to pull them back a little bit. It's about 1.5 inches offset. Otherwise, it's a pretty even flow. And because they're straight risers and not pullbacks, the bars are completely in angle. In case you're wondering, this is a custom piece that was manufactured by my shop to house the fork locks, and it also hides the wiring pretty well in the back. Front suspension, we're running GP 25mm cartridges up front. You can adjust the preload as well as the compression. I absolutely love these front shocks. I was running Fox prior, and there's no comparison. I mean, stock was a joke. The Fox was a moderate improvement, but these GPs, I mean, they really perform. I'm very happy with them. So that's pretty much the modifications that I made to my 2019 CVO Road Glide. And if you were to ask me if I was to build this bike all over again, would I do it the same? Would I use the same components? And the answer is absolutely 100%. I'm very happy with everything that we did here. You know, the one component that you never really know until you do it is the cam. So you can go online, you can read about all different cams, you can talk to 100 different people, you're gonna get 100 different opinions, and typically, whatever cam you choose, as long as it's better than stock, you're gonna love it. If you ride in a certain range, meaning if you're more of a low-end rider as opposed to a top-end rider, if you know exactly what it is that you're looking for, then you can really take a look at the specs of different cams and talk to your local builder, and they'll point you in the right direction. I knew that I wanted the power to come on between like 1700 RPM, but I wanted it to carry right through the power band. I don't need something that's right off the line, super aggressive, but once I get it up to around 1600 RPM, I really wanted this thing to kick in. And also, when I'm riding two up and I'm, 65, 75 miles an hour, and a truck is entering my lane, I need to be able to downshift and grip it and rip it and get away from this guy. So I'm real excited with this T-Man 226 cam. I mean, it really fits the bill, and especially when you're up at higher speeds, it'll get you where you need to be. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty thrilled with the way that the bike came out. It almost rides like a sport bike sometimes, and I feel that it's because of that GP suspension in the front. I have a lot of confidence going into the turns, and if you ride with T-bars, you're already noticing an improvement in your maneuverability and the desire for this bike to really get low. And when you counter steer, you can bring that wheel, right? You can bring the bike over, and it just performs really dynamically. So yeah, if I had the exact same budget and I was to do it all over again, I don't think there's anything here that I would do any differently. I would go right to the 2-to-1. I had a couple of other pipe combinations prior, but I should have went 2-to-1 immediately, as opposed to messing around with different head pipes and muffler combinations. That was a complete waste of time, and I should have just done it right the first time. So that's probably the one thing I wish I would have done differently, is just, do the 2-to-1 right off the bat, pull the trigger, and do it right the first time. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the channel. Any questions or comments, drop it below, and we'll catch you next time on the Open Throttle.